Don't move. You hear me? Hands where I can see 'em." The officer's voice cracked across the quiet street like a warning shot. His boots scraped aggressively on the pavement as he closed in on her, his hand hovering near his holster. "Before we continue, tell us in the comments where you're watching from." The woman froze, clutching her leather handbag against her side, the late afternoon sun painting her shadow long across the sidewalk. She had walked this route for months, same time, same street, same short, quiet path back home. But today, Officer Bradley Kane decided she didn't belong here. I said stop. He barked again as though she hadn't already obeyed. The woman lifted her chin. "Officer, I'm standing still. And I'd appreciate— Did I ask what you appreciate?" He snapped, stepping closer. "This isn't your neighborhood. People around here don't want trouble walking their streets." "My name is Maya Brooks," she said calmly. "I live 2 blocks away. I'm heading home from work." He smirked. "Sure you do. Got ID?" She nodded, reaching for her bag only for him to lunge forward and shout, "Hands up! Don't reach unless I say so." A couple across the street paused, unsure. A curtain shifted. Someone was watching. Maya stayed perfectly still. "Officer," she said evenly, "I was retrieving my wallet. With your permission, I'll show you my ID." He motioned sharply. She opened her bag slowly, revealing her wallet. The second she held it out, he snatched it, flipping it open with annoyance. "Manager at a community center?" He sneered. "Yeah, it looks fake. It's not fake." He talked back a lot for someone being stopped by the police. Then he stepped closer again, too close. His voice dropped to something uglier. "You know, folks around here have problems with people like you. Burglaries, drugs, suspicious behavior. You fit the profile." "I believe the law applies equally to everyone," she answered. He barked a laugh. "Not in my town." He forced her onto the hood of the patrol car. She complied, not out of fear but calculation. His search began procedural, but it quickly became invasive, lingering where it had no legal place to be. She kept her breathing steady, though anger tightened her muscles. "You're crossing a boundary," she warned. "You'll talk when I say you can talk?" He snapped. "And I'll search however I want." She straightened slowly when he stepped back. "You're making a mistake," he smirked. "Is that a threat?" "No, it's a fact." For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. "Did you just say?" he muttered. Maya met his gaze. "You have complaints filed against you? Harassment? Excessive force? Reports that mysteriously disappeared before review?" His mouth opened slightly. "How would you know that?" he asked, voice shaky. "I've seen those files," she said. "You're bluffing? Am I the curtain across the street lifted again?" Another witness stepped outside, phone in hand. Kane stiffened as though the air itself changed around him. "You're nobody," he snapped, but the words lost their force. "If that were true," Maya replied calmly, "you wouldn't be shaking?" He looked down at his hand. It was shaking. He picked up her bag and walked away. Not hurried, not afraid, just done. "Stop," he yelled again, voice cracking. But she didn't stop. Maya Brooks was not a community center manager. She was the internal affairs agent assigned to investigate him. And today, he had handed her everything she needed, the moment she turned the corner. She pulled the small recorder from her bag and powered it off. Evidence secured. She reached home, uploaded the recording, labeled it Field Encounter, Evidence Number 14, and texted her supervisor, "Evidence acquired." He escalated again. Meanwhile, Officer Bradley Kane sat inside his patrol car gripping the wheel, replaying every second of the encounter. "She knew?" he whispered. "How? Who told her?" He moved to his dashboard, camera logs only, to discover that the footage from that hour was missing. Deleted. Not corrupted. Gone. "How is that possible?" he muttered. The system required supervisor approval. Someone had erased it. Someone protecting her. Panic surged. He drove to a deserted parking lot and called Sergeant Cole. "She knows things," he blurted. "She knew my whole record." Cole's voice stiffened. "What did she look like?" "Black woman, red dress, calm. Too calm." Cole went silent. "Oh God," he finally said. "She wasn't a random civilian." "What do you mean?" "She sounds like Aya Bradley. You just described how they test officers." Kane felt his stomach twist. "Why didn't you warn me?" he hissed. "I did warn you," Cole snapped. "A year ago? When your complaints were flagged, you promised to tone it down." "I have toned it down," Kane insisted, though even he didn't believe it. "If IA is after you," Cole said quietly, "don't escalate anything. Keep your mouth shut, and don't try to handle her. You'll only make it worse." But Kane wasn't listening. Fear had turned into desperation. The next morning at the precinct, a yellow sticky note on his locker caused his breath to hitch. "Internal Affairs Audit starting today." Conversations around him dipped. Officers exchanged glances. Eyes avoided his eye, and the rookie flinched when Kane passed him. He stormed into Cole's office. "Is IA here for me?" Cole sighed. "They're reviewing several officers. But yes, your name is on the list." Kane's face drained. "Because of her. Because of you." Cole corrected. She just exposed it. But Kane couldn't accept that. He needed someone to blame, someone to fight. He didn't realize that the moment he chose her, he'd already lost. Internal affairs summoned him at 8 a.m. sharp. As he sat outside the door, nerves buzzing, the hallway went silent. The door opened. A woman stepped out, a coordinator holding a clipboard. And behind her, MayaBrooks.com, composed, unshaken. Kane jumped to his feet. You? She didn't look at him, didn't acknowledge him. She simply handed paperwork to the coordinator and walked down the hall without a single glance back. He lunged forward, but an IA officer stepped in front of him. Sit down, Officer Kane. She provoked me, he shouted. She planned it. We've seen the footage, the officer replied coldly. Kane felt everything inside. Haim collapse. The interrogation lasted nearly 2 hours. They presented 17 documented policy violations, 8 civilian witnesses, 3 officer testimonies, deleted body cam segments, patterns of unlawful stops, and the recorder audio from Maya's encounter. Kane heard his own voice. Fill the room. Every slur, every illegal order, every humiliating command delivered with arrogant confidence he no longer possessed. Do you have any legal justification for your behavior toward Ms. Brooks? An investigator asked. Kane stared at the table. No, he whispered. The door opened. A man in a federal suit stepped inside. Officer Bradley Kane. You are under arrest for misconduct, unlawful search, harassment, and obstruction of a federal investigation. They cuffed him. This time, the humiliation was his. A hallway full of officers watched in stunned silence as he was escorted out. Some whispered. Some shook their heads. None defended him. Outside, reporters swarmed. Cameras flashed, and Maya stood near an elevator, observing quietly, not gloating, not celebrating, just witnessing truth. Kane stopped for half a second when their eyes met. He looked at her with pure fear. She looked at him with calm certainty, the same certainty that had held steady the day we tried to break her. She nodded once, not in triumph. In acknowledgement, it was over. 3 weeks later, the courtroom was packed. Kane shuffled in, wrists shackled, looking small and diminished. His once overbearing confidence had evaporated, leaving only a man exposed by his own cruelty. The prosecution presented their case, layer after layer of evidence showing his pattern of abuse. Witnesses described his intimidation tactics: teachers, store clerks, teenagers, delivery drivers, parents, people he had stopped for no reason except power and prejudice. And finally, Maya took the stand. She testified with precision, calmness, and factual clarity. No embellishment, no anger, just truth. The truth of an officer who had targeted vulnerable people until he chose the wrong target. When she finished, Kane's eyes filled not with remorse, but with disbelief that someone he underestimated could dismantle everything he thought he controlled. The verdict came swiftly. Guilty on all charges, 0.12 years in federal prison. No parole. Badge permanently revoked. Pension stripped out as they escorted him away. He whispered desperately toward Maya. Why you? Why me? She didn't answer. Justice had already spoken. Outside the courthouse, reporters begged for a statement. Maya walked past them without slowing. Silence was her answer. A woman approached timidly. I saw what he did one day. I was too scared to speak then. Thank you for stopping him. Maya offered a sincere nod. Thank you for speaking now. She entered a black SUV, closed the door, and finally allowed her shoulders to relax. The job wasn't about satisfaction. It was about responsibility. As the SUV pulled away, the streets of Willow Creek passed by streets where Kane once believed. He ruled. They looked different now. Not perfect, not healed. But cleaner than before. Maya watched the sunlight stretch across the buildings and knew one thing with absolute certainty. Justice wasn't a moment. It was a mission, and her mission wasn't over.